Vocational education meaning. In this video, we will go through 5 things you must remember if you want to know what is the definition or the meaning of vocational education.
Hi, Sonny. I'm Emil Christopher, and if you want to find and nurture your ideal occupation or business niche, subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so you know whenever a new video comes out. Although we publish daily, so stay tuned. And smash that like button below.
Important thing to remember, number 1. What is the meaning or the definition of vocational education? Well, usually the word vocation refers to any occupation that you feel specially drawn to. It's what we like to call maybe having a gift or having a talent specifically geared for it, or having what some people call a calling towards a specific occupation. However, when we talk about vocational education, vocational training, when you put it in those terms, in that way, usually people just refer specifically, not to any kind of occupation, but specifically to trades and crafts. This means that we're talking about training and education when it comes to a specific job or a specific skill set that doesn't necessarily require you to go to college or to get any more superior education beyond your high school diploma and whatever training is needed specifically for that trade or craft. And this segues very well into the important aspect to remember, number 2, which is what's the difference between the usual normal education and vocational education. Well, as we just mentioned a little while ago, in essence, instead of just going to college and studying something that's very academic, that's broader in nature, then you're actually just building a skill set, maybe working through an apprenticeship process to develop a skill set that's very specific for a job. And this takes us into important aspect to remember, number 3, which are what are some examples of vocations out there that you actually get vocational education for. Well, some examples might be being a cook or being a chef. This is not something that you necessarily go to university to and then you maybe do a PhD or something like that. No, you actually go to a particular vocational school that's specialized and specific into helping you develop the skill sets that a cook or a chef requires in order to be able to perform their job. Does that make sense? If so, comment below. There's also many other examples of vocations that you can actually get some education or training in, like becoming a welder, a carpenter, a glassblower. There's many different kinds out there. So don't feel like you only have to choose 1 or 2. Now, going into the third important aspect to remember, that is, where can you actually get that vocational education, right? Well, this can happen in any place. You can even go to university, but instead of actually going for a major, then maybe you're taking night classes or you're taking classes that are specifically geared towards building that skill set for that vocation. You can actually go to polytechnic institutes, institutes of technology. You can go to community colleges. You can go to specialized vocational schools, vocational educational schools that may be specialized on the vocation that you want to do. Things like maybe art school or schools for chefs or some of the other schools out there that are very specific in nature. Alright, so now you know parts about, okay, what is it that a vocational education is, what is the meaning of it. You also know how it differs from natural or the other kinds of education that are out there, the more traditional paths. You also know some examples of what it is. You know where you can go and study it, right? Which was the last point that we covered, number 4. So number 5, and this is the last one, is why would you even go about getting vocational education in the first place? Well, actually this is something that can happen for many reasons, but as some people have observed, usually people who are studying for a vocation or doing vocational training or education are people who are much more interested in that particular occupation. Therefore, you tend to see a lot of passion in it because it tends to be a path that is less taken relative to the general population, which happens to be like, oh yeah, you should go to college, or if not, maybe you're doing another kind of trade. But when you go in it and you actually were to maybe becoming a chef or maybe becoming some kind of technician that you know you've wanted to be for a while now, and you're putting your all into it, that's something that's very powerful, because that means that you're probably going to be more successful and you're going to enjoy what you're doing better or best. Also, when it comes to money, many of these trades can potentially get a lot of money as well, depending on where you are and how in demand your skill set is. I remember reading back, I keep citing this example of one time I saw in the news that in a particular state in the US, they were paying up to like $140,000 for welders, because that was a skill that was very in demand at that point in time in that state, and there were very few people with that kind of specialized skill set at a high level that could actually produce very high quality work. So if you find that there is something that you really want to do and you can potentially become really good at it simply because you're interested in it and you love actually doing the activity, that occupation, and we've seen that in some of my other videos. If you haven't, please check the channel and subscribe to it. That's going to help you out. That's going to help you be happier. That's going to help you actually be satisfied at work, and as a result to actually be successful over time, which is what matters. So what other reasons are there in order to do that beyond just pay and that it's something that gets you passionate? I don't know if there's anything other than happiness and money when it comes to the world we live in. But before anyone comes in and says something nerdy, yeah, there are many other reasons. Maybe you don't have enough cash or enough resources to go into college, and oftentimes it really depends on the trade or the vocation that you're going for. Oftentimes the barrier of entry can be lower than, say, going to college, spending 4 years, like paying all that tuition, when you can potentially become, let's say, a licensed vocational nurse for 1 year. Let's say you pay $5,000 or $10,000 for that 1 year of training, you pass your licensing exams, and then you can exercise your nursing career at any of 50 states in the US, and you can make an average $40,000 per year. Then that's a considerably lower amount of cost in terms of time and money. And in many other cases it's similar. Within months you can potentially develop a skill set that you can actually commercialize. So that's another big reason or benefit of actually just going for vocational education or training instead of just going the natural route. Now, I am not telling you that you should do that. Every case is different, and if you're interested in that, go in and check into our channel, the playlist that has to do with vocational guidance services and how to find your talents. This is not about telling you, it's just about telling you exactly how you can figure this out for yourself, or what you will need someone, a professional who knows how to do it, to know, and what process to go through with you, so you can actually find that for yourself. So I hope you found this helpful. Remember to smash that like button below and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you know whenever a new video comes out. We publish daily, so you never know when we're going to publish something that's going to be very useful for you. Bye bye.